So game 4, 2-1, 2T1. They just need one more game. Hammer Life looking for the reverse sweep. Camille ban, Rise ban, that's kind of normal. Stop them B1 it. Camille is also a B1 potential. I'd much prefer a B1 Camille over a Kennen, I'm completely honest, but at least Camille can survive in the side lane later on into the game. They do get rid of the Silas. It was just too good. We probably see maybe an Azir ban come out from Hammer Life. Or maybe they won't Lee Sin. Okay, we get the Viego or the Zen. I mean, they're going to take Ken and B1 because that's what they've done every fucking game. Like... it's going to literally give me like a migraine or something, I swear. It's so bad. They've just got countered and now they can just go Aurelia again. And now what are they going to do? See, like, they just take the Aurelia. They probably take away Azir as well. Oh, they take the Viego. I mean, they'll just get responded with Xin Zhao though, so I would have preferred to take the Azir there. But they're probably just going to go with Xin Zhao and Azir here. So the Azir will probably be picked up for Faker on this rotation, and Silas is banned now. So, okay, Akali is also just as good into it. I mean, it kind of does the same thing as what Silas does, to be honest. Just runs about and gets kills, but I wonder if he'll lock it. Okay, he just goes with the Orianna. I mean, I think Akali could actually be good there. I don't know how it interacts exactly with the Azir, but I presume it's somewhat similar to Syndra in the fact that you get pushed in constantly early, but then as soon as you hit 6, one mistake and they die. The Kalista ban coming here will probably get the Varus ban and the Ashe ban, maybe Braum from the side of T1. So there's the Ashe. I mean, Hammer Life, maybe they ban away the Varus here and then look to take Aphelios on R4. So if they do ban Varus here, then T1 have to respond with an Aphelios ban. Or they choose to go into the Aphelios and Jinx matchup again. So they actually banned Braum, okay. I think T1 should still ban Aphelios here and then just take the Jinx. Then what scaling options are Hammer Life going to go with? Maybe something like a Sivir could be interesting, but I don't think they'll have to because they'll just take Aphelios R4. So they're probably, okay, Aphelios, but they're probably discussing, do we get rid of Aphelios or Varus? And, you know, that gives the Varus over to Hammer Life now. Which, you know, can give Jinx a problem in lane, but I would like to see them just pick out the Jinx again, because if you're going to have these double magic penetration lanes, you need a massive scaling ADC in order to offset that. Ezreal is not the pick. I mean, Jhin, not really either. I mean, his objective control is okay because he's got 0 on the team, but I really just don't think he'll do enough. I hope they don't go with the Ezreal, even though Jinx does get pressured a lot. It gives you that big team fight potential. Unfortunately, they did. They're just... it's the exact same comp. Like... they've just lost with this comp. And they've decided, oh, I know what we're going to do. We're going to run it back. The exact same. And hope it works. Just because they've banned Silas and Aphelios. When I don't think it's going to work. Like... the same thing is just gonna happen. Obviously, they don't have the added CC from Aphelios, but Jovi's shown that he's very comfortable in this Orianna Azir matchup, which he already played in game 1, and actually did incredibly well. And he literally got solo kills on Faker. So let's just jump straight into the game, just because it's gonna be a Hammer Life win. Like. It's going to be Hammer Life. I think, like, unless T1 just pull out... no, it's... no, it's so difficult for T1 to win with this draft. Like, it's so difficult. Because they're literally just going to get wits ends again on Aurelia and Viego. And this game, the Varus doesn't actually need... to go poke either, due to the fact that the Aurelia, the Viego, the Rakan will all be jumping onto the side of T1. So he might even just go shield bow wits end and also be unkillable this game. So I don't know. I mean, he started longsword, so I mean that's probably they're gonna go into a serrated dirk, which is probably gonna be the more which is probably going to be what he's going to go to more often. But I do think on hit is a potential this game, even though this is here and the cannon. Like, if he goes poke or on hit, they're still going to be able to reach him from a good flank. So, but either way. So, maybe we get to see a lot of this mid lane fight again, and we just see how this matchup plays out, where Chovy is just looking to walk up and get pressure because he's got Time Warp Tonic, so it doesn't matter. Like, Orianna's early game damage is actually pretty big. And even though if the Azir will get the push on him, it doesn't really matter too much. So, 1-0, 6 for 1, and 5 for 0 on Viego and Rakan. So, they actually got heavily outtraded in the bot lane here. Like, this just shouldn't really happen when you're playing Ezreal, because you shouldn't be in a position that you get jumped on, especially pre-level 2. Like, you can farm with your Qs only and wait till Leona kind of jumps in and gets an engage before you do much. But it won't really matter that much early, because pots will heal for quite a lot. Since in the early game, pots do heal a lot of HP. Like, you've got to think, like, what, they're going to have about 60, 70 AD at this point of the game. So those pots make up for easily 2 to 3 autos. Especially if you pop pot and biscuit at the same time. As long as you've got mana to regain, it's actually okay to do. And then you just win fights really, really hard if your support plays it properly. Which obviously this is a professional level, so we're going to presume that the supports will play it properly until they don't. So we see the Xin is just full clearing. I really don't like full clear Zins out, to be honest. Like, I feel like the champion excels in the fact that he doesn't need levels as much. Obviously, he is clearing because it's pro and he doesn't want to fall behind too much, but Viego's clear is way, way quicker, and they will maybe even look for a dive here. No? Okay. So it's a big slow push, but they don't want to look to go for it. I think it's because they got spotted on that ward anyway, so there's no real point. Now, the thing in bot lane as well is these towers don't actually get the fortification boost bonus, should I say. So they're just as squishy to get these plates at any point in the game. Obviously, you are 2v2 though, so it's a little bit harder to actually siege onto those plates. But overall, I mean, this game is going pretty well. There's not really that much happening yet. But, I mean, Hammer Life have literally just played almost identical team comp into T1 and just completely dominated. So I think they'll actually be in a very, you know, they'll be thinking, you know, very good about this game. Okay, so they do force the Aurelia out of the lane, which again, like, Kennen is an early game lane bully. This is going to happen. That wave is a little bit scuffed, but it does crash. It's fine. So Kennen doesn't look to reset there, which I think could, like, is a potential mistake, because we know that... actually, no, it's not that bad, since we do have them vision inside their jungle. So the vision from the Xin Zhao on the red buff and also Faker on the chickens is really, really important information to gain. Now, Xin Zhao's pattern is actually much better this game. He's cleared his top side camps, and now he's going to his bot side camps to clear them away so that he's around this objective. Obviously, Xin Zhao Leona is a massive 2v2 threat in the early game, considering they are both on this patch probably the best in class champions. So, I mean, he does have his Iron Spike whip as well, which, as we previously said, is a incredibly big advantage. But unfortunately, the Orianna just moves before Faker getting very heavily aggressed out of this laning phase by the Orianna. I mean, Chovy is doing so much, and he's just stopping Faker really moving to any objective, and that actually allowed the Viego to get that dragon first, especially considering his team rotated with him as well. Now, Varus is going to do a little bit more than Ezreal in these kind of early skirmishes, due to the fact that even though Ezreal has the kind of double auto attack and uniqueness of his kit, Varus does have a massive amount of burst, and right now he is sat on a serrated Dirk, which, like I said, is one of the biggest component spikes that you can get in the game. So the amount of damage he's going to do, you could see there, nearly 25% of his HP completely deleted by just a Varus Q. So He is doing considerable damage right now. This wave top is completely doomed for the Aurelia though. Like, they have to send the Viego here to fix it. But what is Xin Zhao doing here? Like, why are you looking to invade when the wave is in a perfect position top? I mean, maybe he gets Chovy. Oh, but he flashes away from it. The thing is, Aurelia is just allowed to clear this wave in top now, which is terrible. Okay, but Xin Zhao just completely murders Viego, and Kennen gets a massive amount on top here. Xin Zhao is moving, but is Aurelia going to kill him first? He does use his flash to get out, and now the Xin is potentially going to kill this Aurelia. He just needs to wait for the stacks to drop, which do happen. Oh, that's so sad. He should have used his W first. If he would have used his W, it would have slowed down enough that he could get in range to just auto her and knock her up. So, oh, it's very rough. And he also wasn't using his Q as an auto attack reset as well. Are they going to potentially look to dive this? I mean, this is just a terrible waste of time from Warner right now. Kennen just really needs to get out of here. Considering the Viego is in this top side also. Does he get the play? It's on literally a slither of HP, but he's not going to be able to get it, unfortunately. So in bot lane right now we have Ezreal very, very low, and Varus Q is just coming in relentlessly. So Ezreal really has to be careful here, considering Varus Q is on a low cooldown, but he doesn't have enough mana to use it. Rakan trying to go in, but it's not really going to work. We do see Varus go into the lethality option as well, which is completely fine, considering, you know, there is a Kennen and a Azir that, you know, have a massive reach to get on top of him, and Leona, to be honest, as well. It is a much easier playstyle, and it's overall much better in the majority of times. But here, like, why does Viego think that he can win a 1v1 against a Xin Zhao? Xin Zhao is one of the strongest 1v1 champions in the game, and the only real champions he loses to is Warwick and Udyr, and even then he can potentially win that too. If he would have just, as soon as he E'd there, just instantly W'd on top of her, then he actually would have been able to get that kill, because the W slow would have got him in range for the triple Q. So unfortunate to see that come out. It's just massive mechanical misplay from the side of Xin Zhao, but which you don't really expect, because, you know, it is Xin Zhao. But before this patch, he was actually a much less contested pick. I think, I can't remember if he got buffed or if it was just because the meta changed around the... Well, this is the thing, like, so even the champions that did get buffed, like J4, they got buffed because they were already meant to be good in this meta. So the meta at the time was, you know, hard farming junglers, and champions like Xin Zhao beat. Oh, unfortunate that the Gumayusi didn't manage to get that blast gun to go over as well. Varus does use his ultimate there, but Ezreal has to use his flash to get away from. Actually, no, he'd E'd my bad entirely. It was okay. I could have swore I saw his flash, but I didn't. So, yeah, so these champions were already meant to be good as soon as they raised the jungle timer from 3 minutes to 3:15, because at 15 minutes, at 15 seconds, means that hard farming junglers didn't have anything to do, so they were forced to gank. So if they're forced to gank and you're playing an early game jungler and you were just tracking them permanently, you'd be able to gank them first, so, or you'd be able to cover for the gank, if you know what I mean. So we see a big trade going on here, but the Xin Zhao is there waiting just to jump on top of them. He is going to walk away though, but there is a shrine. Now you can actually dodge that shrine by walking a specific way, since it doesn't show until you're actually pretty much on top of it. So this little area here, you can actually hug this wall and not get revealed by the shrine, which is why it's very important to get a ward inside this jungle entrance just by here, just so that if they do creep around, you can actually see them in there and rotate onto them. So Aurelia does have this wave in a very, very good spot. She can hold it as well. She's not forced to clear it. Now, good from the Xin Zhao to come and break the freeze though. Because that actually, just the pressure of Xin Zhao being there actually breaks that freeze and manages to allow Kennen to get that plating, which he almost got earlier into the game. So pretty good from the side of T1. Warner showing up just to break that freeze as well was very, very good. Leona showing up too. Very, very good too, especially considering Kerry never really needs to be bot lane in this game ever, because Ezreal can just farm safely with his Q. If Rakan goes to W on top of him, he can just eat away, and then Rakan's stuck in bot lane too. So it's very, very good of Kerry to roam here. The Herald comes down. Morgan looking to try and fight the Xin Zhao, which is really bad. Does Q2. And the minions get away though, so completely fine. So at this point in the game, Chovy's actually huge. He's very, very strong, and he's done very well in this laning phase against Azir, just to kind of avoid really losing much of anything, especially considering how much poke Azir does have. Both mid laners on over 10 CS a minute though, so farming very, very perfectly, and it's just been a constant battle in mid lane, and nobody's actually got anything, so it's kind of nice to see. So Hanwha Life actually going to go for this dragon now. If this becomes Cloud, then I think that T1's strategy gets completely nullified. If it does spawn as an Ocean Drake though, then it's worked again for the 4th game. Okay, so it is Ocean, so Hanwha Life have done this multiple times now. Now the 2 games that they lost was because T1 basically allowed them to get the first 2 dragons, and then got 4 in a row, which, you know, something I already discussed in preseason, or when the dragons were released, should I say. And that is just a ridiculously broken like strat, because otherwise you don't end up with like a load of random stuff from multiple dragons. You just, oh, okay, so Aurelia did manage to queue and get behind him. So again, Kennen trying to fight an Aurelia on max stacks is just really not a good idea. So, especially considering she already has his Mercreds, which gets rid of the a lot of the penetration, if not all of the penetration, from his Sork Shoes actually. So again, pretty rough. Kennen does have alternate though, and that fight was extremely close considering the item builds right now. SKT at T1 got a massive amount of gold from these platings since they managed to get an extra one, but wait, they just said that they got 2 platings in bot lane for 160 gold. What? I don't know how many platings they did get. So here we can actually see the fight unfold. Aurelia gets full stacks and just trims a wave down instantly with her Qs, and then Kennen still walks up, gets ulted, and you know, he manages to get the ult on the Aurelia, but those Mercreds really coming in clutch at this point of the game now. Like, Kennen really shouldn't be looking to force those fights without looking at the leaderboard. I really don't think he realized that she had Mercreds in that game, in that fight, and it just reduced his stun duration by so much that she managed to actually break out of it and kill him with her stacks. So we do see Keria coming up though now to try and kind of save this lane, and Faker comes too. Ezreal ult as well, kind of gets the kill, but they just invested so much to shut him down here, and now they're actually going to be able to get this tower in top lane and just even out the kind of tower advantage that Hanwha Life did have. So T1 still showing that even though they're behind, they're still not out this game. Xin Zhao picked up his gold ring, and now Viego has his Sundra. Varus rushed Duskblade straight away. So here you can see the Canna gets a massive trade-off, and then Leona ult comes in into the EQ as well. Azir with the shuffle too, and the Ezreal ultimate. They just... Oh, wait, Azir didn't shuffle her. Sorry, I thought Azir had used the shuffle when I watched it first time around. But all round, a lot invested for one champion though. So I can't actually wait to see how other mid laners fare up on the world stage. I want to see the Perks Faker matchup. Or the Abadage Faker. That'd be sick. So at this point of the game, again, both these teams playing a very slow control game, but I think that's bad for the side of T1 due to the fact that they've killed themselves in this draft so hard by, again, getting countered in the top lane instantly because of that B1 pick. Now, at this point of the game, you don't see the kind of draft difference being so huge, but once we get later into the game, especially when they pick up those Wits Ends, which Aurelia is just starting to buy now, and Viego will be starting soon. As soon as we've got the Wits Ends, it's kind of over for the side of T1. Ezreal is not going to be able to pump out enough damage, and the thing is, I actually think Teddy's Ezreal is better than Gumayusi's as well, so if they're planning on running Ezreal, I think they should have subbed Teddy in, just because he's performed insane every single Ezreal game now. I'm very curious to see what's happening with the side of, with Teddy on T1, because it seemed like as soon as he started losing some games, they instantly subbed him out. So maybe I think it's mental, like a mental thing, but who knows? Like maybe it is just kind of that they want to try Gumayusi to kind of freshen things up a bit, but I don't know if T1 have still got a sub mid laner either. But so they are looking to start this dragon now. This dragon is very important for T1 to get, for them to run this kind of strategy of just getting 4 dragons in a row. And if they do get 4 oceans in a row, that's very good, but you can just see that they just can't really get into this pit. Now, Kana is behind just looking for something. Maybe he's going to blast cone and go over, but I don't think so, and they're just going to give away this dragon. Deft is completely out of position. Like, they should have just gone for it. They were 5v4, and they had Herald in mid lane already. Like, it's just very, very sloppy. Another tower dive that nearly went wrong. Oh, it did go wrong. Another bad tower dive from the side of T1. It's terrible. I mean, Kana does manage to pick up a kill on the Viego, and the Azir turret does come down to just kind of block a lot. But Faker goes in, doesn't manage to use his shuffle, does manage to stop Zonya's the Orianna ult though, and that stasis really did save him. But it's just really rough for the side of T1. I think it's very hard for them to come back in this game, and it's just going to slowly end up with... so let's just have a look over this replay. So they get the Herald in. I don't think going for the mid Herald was even worth, but they do manage to pick off Deft and knock him up. But Viego just comes in and instantly executes these in Zhao. Doesn't really matter too much though, because Kana does CC him up massively, and then they do try and continue this fight, considering they technically have a turret with Azir. He does jump in and tries to shuffle, but he doesn't use it. Orianna does ult, Aurelia ults as well while he's already stopwatched. I have no idea why, and then they end up getting out. So I mean, so, I mean, this is looking very doomed for T1 because they're not in a position to keep getting these dragons now. So it just means that Hanwha has a better team comp, and they're going to get this soul, which Ocean Soul is basically extremely difficult to actually play around. But we see this Negatron Cloak coming for the Aurelia now. It's going to come in soon for the Viego too. So we're just waiting now to see just how Hammer Life want to end this game out. I mean, the gold is dead even, but when you're playing a team like a composition like this, you have to get ahead early. Like, they're not going to have enough damage later on into the game to actually do anything here. So again, it's looking very, very rough for the side of T1. A nice ultimate from the Ezreal, but doesn't actually do that much. I mean, it does a lot, but it's not really going to change much, to be fair. So, honestly, T1 have just completely screwed themselves. Like, they initially screwed themselves in their draft by picking Ken and B1 again. Now, they did it once, and that's like, okay, like, that's what they've planned. Fine, sure. But then to do it again and play into almost an exact, like, replica, like, comp, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like if you see something that doesn't work, you're not going to do it again. It's like they've touched fire and gone, ooh, ow, that burns. I wonder if it'll burn the second time. I wonder if it'll burn the third time. Well, we'll see if they do this a third time. If they do this in the last game, then I swear they aren't as clean as I first thought, to be honest. Like, some of these games they played very well, but it feels like they just don't adapt. So again, Chovy getting huge chunk out with just a single QW there. Just stopping them coming on this dragon whatsoever, because if HLE get this dragon now, this game is completely over for SKT. There's no way they'll be able to come back. Good Leona, all but instant CC removal from the Varus. Manages to do a lot of damage, and they've just committed to this, and now they can't do anything. Kana does have his ult available, does manage to get a really nice ult actually, and does focus on Chovy. Chovy does drop to the Xin Zhao, and Kana does actually carry this team fight super hard. Ezreal in the background uses his ultimate, but just doesn't really go off how he wanted it to. Does get another kill on the Xin Zhao though, and now they can potentially run him down. Morgan isn't going to be able to kill them all here, and that actually turned out as a win for T1, especially considering they actually got that ocean as well. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to matter though. Like, although I want that to be a deciding factor for this game, I think in another 5 minutes, if they can't do the exact same thing again. So here we'll see it in the back in a replay. I mean, so Deft instantly uses his cleanse in order to get away from that, and then starts killing Keria. Keria's in the middle and just completely doomed as soon as he's cleansed it. It's one of the reasons that Leona is a little bit more weaker in teamfights if you have cleanse. Kennen does come in though and gets a massive ult. They also get the dragon, as like Faker actually gets it. Faker is doing a lot of damage in this backline here, and Xin Zhao manages to get so much. Ezreal's ult does go wide on everybody because of the stopwatch from Deft. But the nice repositioning from Gumayusi to just get on top of the Varus instantly, and now the Aurelia, even though she is very strong, she's just not strong enough to just kill all of them off there. So I mean, one team fight for the side of T1, but I don't think it's going to matter soon, because a lot of that damage that got output was from Faker and Kana. So as soon as these wits ends come out, like, T1 doesn't have anywhere near enough of a lead in order to make this kind of comp work into Hammer Life's comp. So Varus right now on his 2 items. He is building a Last Whisper as well. He's probably going to turn it into a Cyrilda's just for a bit of extra CC, and you know, his pokes on his Qs will allow Orianna to get in range for some ults maybe. So that's probably going to come out soon. So the Aurelia did actually get the Negatron Cloak and then just instantly built Sterax for that kind of additional team fighting power. But the Viego is about to pick up his wits end pretty soon. He's got most of the components except for the Negatron. So as soon as he gets enough gold to upgrade this no magic into a Negatron, the team fights are going to change a lot anyway due to the additional MR that he's actually going to get from it. So Aurelia, again, in a side lane. We'll see if Kana makes the same mistakes as he did last game and tries to fight her in this side lane, especially without the Xin Zhao. Now, Xin is there, but there is a ward inside the jungle. It's a blue ward, so he will know that he's been spotted, and then it really just gets out. So Kennen does manage to get this wave pushed in and crashed into bot lane now, but they have to reset and start getting control over this top side of the map now, since there's no objective in the bottom side anyway. Aurelia is pinned here, so I would actually like to see Kennen reset here and then just walk up into the Baron area, and then the Aurelia will be forced to TP. So and then if T1 kind of back away from that fight and just wait and, you know, send Kennen bot to push another wave out, then they're actually going to have a TP advantage for this Baron. Now, I think that's one of the ways that they actually win this game with this kind of comp, and playing around those TPs. Even if Faker goes and pushes the side lane out, and then they play around that, that will be okay, but overall, very dominant game for the side of Hanwha Life. But, I mean, the reverse sweep is incoming. Now, so both teams are at World, so that's the reason why we've been reviewing both of these LCK teams. So, both of these teams are actually at Worlds. So, okay, so my Streamlabs has crashed again. So they are just looking to get this prio in mid now and potentially go and set a vision around the dragon so that they can potentially get it as soon as it spawns. Now the dragon is going to be very, very hard for them to go for this game, but I mean, they do have a massive team fight though, so maybe they will just look to team fight this and try and do something. I mean, Xin Zhao is behind them, and Kana is also walking behind. He's going to get spotted on that ward, though. They are in a pincer, but is it going to be enough? They do manage to catch Chovy, actually. Xin Zhao instantly ults, but Chovy flashes out and uses his ultimate as well. Are they going to be able to kill him? I don't think they're going to be able to. Chovy actually manages to get out there with a nice stopwatch, and Faker just, you know, gets instantly killed again. This kind of comp, I mean, they just can't do enough damage to Chovy because they don't have enough damage spread, and this is the biggest problem with this comp that the T1 keep trying to rush, or keep trying to force, should I say. As we can see on Viego, he's now got his wits end, and Chovy, even though he's used his stopwatch, he's still going to go into this Rabadons and just have so much damage, especially considering he is massively farm fed this game. So Gamayusi just trying his best to get this, but oh, he does manage to get it. And he flashes out. Oh my, Gamayusi literally saved the game there. Hanwha Life are on Baron though, so they are going to get it. And it's not really going to matter because, again, the draft difference is too huge. But overall, you know, this is looking very, very good for the side of Hanwha Life. And I don't think T1 are going to be able to come back. Because this fight, instant stopwatch from the Orianna into the flash R. And then again, she's getting completely kind of peeled and shielded by this Rakan. Faker is trying to do damage in the side, does manage to kind of force them away, but it doesn't really matter because Aurelia can just instantly jump back. So again, Gamayusi though, this was so clutch, it was unreal. Like the fact that he used his W and then his EQ just to proc that, super, super good. If they would have got the Ocean Soul at that point as well, this game would have ended in the next 5 minutes. Now, this game does still have the potential to end in the next 5 minutes, but I mean, T1 do still have quite a lot of towers left. Now, the unfortunate thing is, I think Hanwha Life are strong enough to just push these in. I'm really sad to see them resetting here. This is so grief from the Aurelia. She doesn't have TP, there's no reason to reset there. Like, they're literally on a Baron push and he decides to reset there. Like, you reset when you get the Baron. Either your entire team reset when you get the Baron, or none of you reset. It shouldn't be both. The only people that can reset in those situations is people that have TP, if they're willing to use it. Which, again, isn't too great anyway. So you should just aim to get people on the map. Make your lane assignments as you're coming out the base and just play around that. Like, It's very, very, I don't know, just bad. They just lost a lot of Baron time for no reason. Chovy is just one-shotting camps though, so he's just staying super, super fed. He's got Seraphs now. He's looking for his Zhonya's in this game, but I think they're going to win the game before he even gets his Zhonya's, to be honest, so... So we do have a TP flank coming in behind from the Kennen. Is it going to be enough though? Maybe if he can catch Chovy, but again, okay, so he flashes in and gets instantly locked up by the Rakan. Rakan does actually almost die instantly. An amazing shuffle from Faker though. Holy, that just completely flipped this game. But Morgan is going to go nuts actually. He has his wit's end, I think, so it's very hard to actually kill them. And the Rakan comes in and helps now. Again, I think Viego does just potentially clean up this... no, he doesn't actually. He doesn't manage to get that off. A really good Zhonya's from Faker to keep them in this game. If they would have won that team fight for the side of Hanwha Life, that was over. So again, I do think this game is going to be decided in the next 2 minutes when it comes to this Dragon fight. I think if T1 get it, they maybe have the chance to... I mean, I don't know, because they're too AP heavy, so I think even if they get it, they won't be able to win. Again, though, that shuffle from Faker was insane. That completely changed the team fight because that got Chovy and Deft. So, very, very good shuffle. But still a very, very close fight. Rakan did come in to try and kind of help Morgan, but Morgan does actually drop there. Faker with an amazing stopwatch on the smallest amount of HP. He must have literally been on about 10 HP there. Again, massive shuffle. We're actually going to be able to see how much HP he was on. So again, he's just putting in work here. All these inputs are nuts though, like Faker's insane to watch. So what HP was he on? He dropped down to 5 HP. 5 HP there. I swear there was a glimpse where it was 5. Maybe it was 15, so I'm going to say it was about 10, but I think I saw him on 5 HP there. It was very quick though. So again, now this dragon is about to spawn in 40 seconds. And it's going to be the deciding factor. I mean, Aurelia is so huge right now. Chovy is building into his Zhonya's right now, but he's just not going to have it in time for this dragon fight. I don't really think it matters too much though, because the shields he's getting out of Rakan and the amount of peel he's getting from Rakan as well is just so much better. So they're actually just running it down mid lane. Aurelia to get to this tower as quick as possible, and they're just going to go for the inhib. Now this is a good thing because Aurelia can actually, Orianna can set a ball up now. They don't want this inhib yet though. It's a very, very big overextension to go for, and on top of that, like, they might not be looking to end the game out right now because the dragon is available. So Faker's turret is actually just going to stop these minions from crashing into the base. Meanwhile, Faker is just doing this dragon, so is he going to be able to do it in time though? Keria needs to just, like, try and stop them as much as possible. Viego does come over though, and he is going to get it. Ooh. Yeah, and that's game. Ocean Soul going over to the to Hanwha Life. Aurelia is now unkillable. Like, there's nothing they can do to stop her anymore. Like, having that on top, and also the amount of mana regen that Orianna gets now is not even funny. And she also has a Rabadon as well. She won't have her ult, but it's almost halfway off being off cooldown, so they are potentially just going to look to force this down mid and potentially look to just end the game. Faker and Can are dead for another 30 seconds, so this is just going to be where Hanwha Life win the game. So the reverse sweep is definitely a possibility. It's going to go to a game 5. So SKT are just doing a last ditch attempt to do anything. The owner tried to clear the wave with their ultimate. It is smart, but it just isn't enough. So this game, honestly, again, it's just this draft. Like T1 were doomed from the start. Even if they played perfectly, I think this draft just completely screwed them. Now, are they going to do this draft again in Game 5? Let's find out straight away.